So today, we're doing another beat breakdown. We are breaking down Death, which is actually one of the newer songs that came out. Got a lot of structure to go through, a lot of bits and bobs, all sorts going on here. Some cool messing with samples, changing effects, different techniques, a lot of different stuff that I hadn't used before. This is a really fun one because this uses a cool technique where you essentially resample your own song and you re-record the whole song. I'll go through the basics of the structure of the song first, and then I'll go into that. So first of all, we've got this synth, which is really heavily LFO'd. I've put a bunch of reverb on it for the intro, let it space out, and it comes in. You can hear that it's LFO'd, so it makes it very jumpy, which means the kicks and snares don't get in the way of it either. So if you combine it with the allows the kicks and snares to fill in the empty space. It's got a substomach behind it, so last session I explained how the substomach, You Won't Like My Music, showed it me. Brilliant preset here that's just default in Ableton, and you can really affect it to make it sound as fat or as distorted or however you want to make it sound. You can kind of mess around. But this one, quite distorted. Still nice though. And then underneath it, it's got Vital sub, just to double the fatness of the bass and the width. It doubles up. Make that second hit a bit more. And there is a bit of automation here with wider, which is only on a 33% increase, but this allows that bass to reach left and right ear a bit more than the center of the headphones, so it creates space. And it's off. Now we're central again. And it's on. You can hear on left and right. That's a really cool way of adding texture to basses. Again, it's just something I love. So this is just essentially the main melody. So it's just these very simple elements and my vocals. As you can see, there isn't much more to it.
Why is my life this way?
Nice mix. We've got Soothe on it. So
why is my life?
This preset is like inbuilt to help remove harsh frequencies. So
why is my life this way?
As you can see when I play it, the sound through it, this blue section gets pushed down, and what that does is that Soothe is detecting where frequencies in this sound are too harsh and they are not pleasant to listen to. So it actively live squashes those harsh sounds. It's a brilliant way just to clean up noises without having to go through and do it manually on an EQ.
Sick of staying awake in the mirror of my face, staring through my eyes these days.
Every time I S. Thank you for the follow. I am the Walrus. Amazing account name. Love it. This is a really cool snare sample. It has like a vocal, like a small vocal in it. You can kind of hear it. So you get some cool noises there. You get like a little vocal in the back that sticks out. Cool noise. So that's the structure. You get the kick, the trumpet, the drum beat, the synth, and the bass structure. Again with the width there, creating a lot of texture. So that's just the intro. Nice and simple.
Why is my life this way? Sick of staying awake in the mirror of my face.
So the build-up is a new set of vocals, very heavily saturated and very heavily reverbed.
My eyes are swollen, death is rolling.
So in this blue section, which I've minimized, we have a lot of effects. So transitions, fallers, risers, all that kind of stuff. Got a mid-transition with a faller, which is panned slightly to the left ear. This one's really cool because it's just nice and choppy. So as you can see, I've dropped the snare and the hi-hat here.
My eyes are swollen, death is rolling.
Really focus on the kick then.
Sweating sore from all this
and then what I've also done is to add a bit more texture to this synth, because obviously the synth goes. I put a filter on it to only show the mids. Underneath is a very spacey pad, which I actually love this sound. If I turn on my MIDI. This is actually a piano, which I've altered slightly. So I've increased the attack and added a bunch of reverb to it so that it creates this kind of spacey note. You wouldn't tell if it was a piano, you wouldn't know. A couple of risers. I love double layering the risers. You get some cool textures there. And then the transitions and some fallers impacts. and you're into the drop. So the drop is really fun one. So I got this, which is an interesting noise in itself. Let's see if I can't pull it out. Really weird noise, but I wanted to kind of like vary it slightly. So what I've done is on here, I've added a tremolo, which gives it a lot of vibration. And I've also added this. This is a really cool plugin. I love the style of this plugin as well. You can actually change the colors around. Look at that. I mean, this plugin is free, but what it does is it basically saturates, distorts, does all sorts. So if I turn it off, I'll bypass it. That's the melody. That's really distorted. We don't like that. But if I slowly turn up this Doom slider, which I've got no idea what it does, you can hear it become so full. Ready? You get low end growling in there, and you can up the overdrive and blend to make it sound more harsh. This Doom sound. It adds so much texture. So I've added a bunch of effects on and made that the main drop. So. And then the bass, again, Substomach, this time really growly version of the original one we were using up here. But way more growly. You get that, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, growl, distortion. The Vital underneath, sub, make it wide and fat. And then an extra sub, which is really wide. So this is 200%. And that is creating that kind of little ear candy bit at the end of the bar. So that creates that texture specifically. That is just a brilliant way to kind of add width. Absolutely stinky. We love it. But then you've also got... That's just an octave higher. So it just changes it slightly. And then double up. Add a high version. Super chopped. So on there, if you can decide how you want it to be played, you choose warp as an option, and you select the warp style, and you go for beats, and you go for 16ths. So what it does is it plays this file every 16th beat, and you choose what percentage of the file you want to come through, and that's this slider here. So you can do 100%. So you still get that 16th chop, but you get all of the audio, and you can, as you drag it down, it plays less and less. So at 0, it's still obviously not 0%, but it still plays a little bit. It plays a little intro bit. It's very screechy to listen to by itself, but when it's all textured in, you can't tell. And that's because of this button here, this arrow, which says play it and then stop it immediately. You can have it play the same sample multiple times in a row, or play it forwards and then backwards. You get some weird effects. You can hear the doubling up there, whereas here, it chops it. You can hear the difference in pitch, which just adds it again. Just get that high end coming through. High end comes in now. For some reason, I've got Nick's vocals offline. So his vocals come in here as ad-libs.
Hey. Okay. Curfew, brain splitting over sins and virtues.
He's done a cracking job. He smashed it out of the park. It's just some ad-libs, a few nahs and yes, and then his actual lyrics, and then some hooks and stuff.
Death is rolling. Okay.
So this was really fun. This is a great technique. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of deactivated tracks. Turn them all off. And I resampled the drop itself, 24. This is the drop resampled. So I'm going to pull a bit of it out and show you what I mean. See, there's a full recording here, and this is the drop. No drums, though, because if you resample the drums, it gets a bit iffy. I was like, right, you just resample it and chop it, and re-chop it. So this is the thing I saw online. It was absolutely nuts. You can just like you can just make a remix of your song within the song. So you play that through with the edited drum kit. I got a yup noise. Amazing. You've got just that. That's the drop. You've just re-engineered your entire drop. Oh, I'm doubling up here. And then a super fun thing to do. So I usually do any extra sound effects outside of the main mix. See here, I've got this little effect here by itself, and this is the phone ringing in the right ear. So that's a really cool effect that just pulls in this vocal set, which is my vocals as if they were speaking through a phone.
Oh, I died. Yeah, you saw me cross the line.
That uses a thing called the Midnight filter, which I use loads. That filter is an EQ3, super simple EQ. And depending on the gains that you increase or decrease, it affects how it sounds.
Oh, I died. Yeah, you saw me cross the line.
And that's basically it for a beat breakdown.
Damn, you're acting like a loose screw. You. Damn, my eyes are open, staring straight through. Now I know why.
Good hi-hat as well. I do like this one. Because I made it. It's in my sample pack. Percussive patterns. Yeah, good stuff. So that's the beat breakdown.